Hi everybody. It's 7:46 on a Tuesday evening, June 30th, last day before July 2020. I'm just coming on here to explain to you what just happened to me, why Spectrum sucks, and why I do not recommend people using Spectrum, and how my day went, as well as what I'm doing and what I'm using to keep myself sane and from flipping out like hardcore right now. Hold on, let me it's getting kind of dark because it's 7:46 and it's getting to be sunset time, so let me just put on my light on this side for real quick. Alright, hopefully that helped a little. It did. Okay. Oh, hey, Eric. I hope you're having a better day than I am. And I hope I think it was Atlantic City you guys went to, I think you said. I hope that trip was good. If you haven't gone, I don't know if you went or didn't go already. But anyways. So, hey, Keith. How you doing, buddy? Happy 2020 graduation to your son, Keith. That was really cool. Yay! I did not realize you had a kid that old, and I'm like, whoa! But that's cool. Alright, so anyways, I advise everybody to totally get off Spectrum if you can, because what I had to deal with today was just totally not cool. I get the whole virus thing was a big problem, but at the same time, I'm not doing this for myself, and if it was me, I would have completely gotten rid of it all and just did internet through like Roku or one of those other internet service things or something like that, because the headaches I had to go through today it's just not worth it. And the only reason I'm keeping up with it is for my grandfather. That's the only reason. To be honest, I'd probably be saving, not me, because I'm not paying for it, but we'd be saving a lot more money if we weren't doing this. Alright, hold on, I just muted my computer. Hold on a second, I have a friend messaging me about my, thieves, cleaner. I'll wait for responding to her. But anyways, hey Dave, how's it going? Alright, so anyways, down to the nitty gritty. So, I spent all afternoon running around, okay, first things first. Wait, hold on. Let me calm down first. Let me put my Endoflex on. I gotta calm down because I am just livid right now. I know Spectrum sucked before. Spectrum wasn't really, oh, I should put this also on my earlobes because that's very good for calming people down, or me down, or whatever. Endoflex is really good for calming hormones and dealing with hormone, especially for women too. But anyways, okay. So, Monday night I came home from work, yesterday, and I found out our cable box was like, psh. Saturday night it was going in and out. We ended up getting, it was kind of windy here, so I thought it was outside. We ended up getting a notification saying something to the degree of service has been disabled, and then it came back on, and I'm like, okay. So I texted my brother, Dan, and said, okay, did you pay the cable bill? Did it go through? Because we had problems before of it not going through. So he wasn't exactly happy with Spectrum anyways because of that other previous issue. And he's like, no, it went through, it's okay, you know, it should be fine. So I was like, okay, so it seemed to be okay. So I went to work on Monday, because Sunday was okay, and Gramp, if you know everybody here, Gramp solely, his day consists of getting up, eating his food, getting his medicine, and sitting in front of the TV. Then he gets up randomly, he gets his lunch, and then he goes back to the TV, and he sits there, and smelling sauce helps reduce stress. Exactly, Eric. Smelling sauce helps reduce stress. If any of you don't know, that was a Roswell, an old show Roswell reference. Eric and I do Roswell, you know, anyways. Good show on CW. Anyway, digressing. So, basically, came home Monday night. Pearl, our aide, was here, and she said that the TV had gone kaput. didn't work anymore. Something about she got some message about some router issue or something. So I said, okay, if you can come over today, I can leave in the afternoon to go and figure out what stores I can go and change it up. Because I've always been able to go to the Orchard Park store, change it out, and do all that stuff. Okay. So she said, sure, whatever. So I said I'd call them first to see if I could get through or whatever. So I called tech support Monday night and went through the whole rigmarole, whatever. And basically, the girl on the thing said, because I went to get it activated, they said, no, you had to go to tech support. Then I called tech support, and then tech support said that you had to get a new box. So I asked her where I could get a new box. But because of COVID, most of the places are closed. So she said, I'm like, well, is Orchard Park open? Because Google said it was temporary closed, so I wasn't sure. She said, well, she couldn't find out if that one was open or not, so she said the next one would be the West Seneca address on Indian Church. So I was like, okay. So she gave me the number for that, and she said, good luck, because we couldn't figure it out or whatever. And I said I'd call in the morning when I get up, because the nurse that comes and bathes Gramp in the morning comes in the morning, so I figured I'd call, get that done, okay, while I'm waiting for Meals on Wheels and all this stuff. So I end up being like, okay, that's fine, we'll figure it out. Gramp will deal with the evening and maybe a little bit in the afternoon today without TV. He's got books to look through, whatever, it's fine. So then I'm like, okay, Pearl agreed to come over today to be able to do that. So I went today, this morning, after I woke up with a very severe bloody nose, mind you, and I don't know why I ended up having that severe bloody nose. And Eric, if you remember, when I used to have the bloody noses in school, to the point where it was gushing and I had to blow out like ligaments or whatever, the veins or whatever is in here to stop it, that's what I had this morning, and it was bad. So I was like, ugh! And that was at 8:30 this morning. It woke me up out of bed. So yeah, my day started since then and has been so much fun ever since. So, carrying on. I went this morning, I was waiting for Gramps' Meals on Wheels. Arlene got him up, so I sat him in front of the TV, even though we didn't have a TV, and it had like the automobile book there it goes from like 1800s, from the beginning of the automobile to like 1990s, 2000s. So I was going through that book and it was all fine. So I'm outside, waiting for Pearl to arrive, waiting for the Meals on Wheels to arrive, not feeling good myself, ate a little bit, feel dizzy, lightheaded from the bloody nose at 8:30, mind you, it was like 11:30 by now, so I was trying to figure out, I was laying down for a little bit and all that stuff. And I had done some of my oils and stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, when somebody feels like they're gonna faint, the people in the blood draw place usually give you orange juice. So I'm like, okay, I was trying to find orange juice. There was no orange juice in the house. There only was a little orange juice from Grant's Meals on Wheels, so I had that, and I'm like, okay. I did use my Ninja Red, which I should actually take right now, too, to calm me down, because it's got orange juice in it, and it's got oranges and all that other stuff. If you don't know anything about it, look up my other videos. I did a video on it, to keep me from feeling not so good, right? So I'm outside, and I'm like, while I'm waiting, I will call the West Seneca store, right? See if it's open. So I called the West Seneca store, and it gave me the automated thing, and it gave me two options. Either call whatever it was, or call for the setting up a new hotline. So of course I did the one. Then it gave me to this whole thing, a rigmarole about, okay, yeah, and then it just like, no, it just didn't do anything. So then I tried to bypass it by calling the second one, and I got some Arab guy that's like, oh, well, you're going to be a new Spectrum customer. And I'm like, no, I just really want to know what the times are for the West Seneca office, if it's even there. And he goes, well, it doesn't look like the West Seneca office is there, but all these places up in the North Towns are available. And I'm like, I can't get to the North Towns. I have to have somebody here, and I don't know my way around, and I'm by myself, and I suck at driving. Like, I have a fear of driving. One reason why I forgot to use my Valor today, and I should have had Valor, but I knew where I was going somewhat. So then he wasn't giving me anywhere, so I said, thank you, I appreciate your help, but I got it from here. So that was that. So I was like, whatever. So I figured, you know what, if I can't, I'll just drive to Orchard Park, see if they're open, and then drive to the Indian Church, see if they're open, and then, go from there, right? I know, Dave, a freaking headache and a freaking backwards, So then, ironically, the Meals on Wheels, Pearl shows up, and I'm talking to Pearl about it, whatever. And then the Meals on Wheels show up, and the girl was, I was talking to the girl, and then she goes, the only office available to her, hey Candy, was the one that's in Cheektowaga on in the plaza for the Apple Tree Mall. Oh, I had a great day, Dave. Great day. I didn't even get to unbox my Young Living yet, which I'm so excited about, but I can't because I gotta unbox it. So anyways, I said, oh, the other ones aren't open. She goes, no, she had this problem before. She said that her husband did the same thing, drove around and did all this stuff, and the only one available that's accepting box returns and switch outs is the one in the Apple Tree Plaza. And I'm like, oh crap. And I'm like, where is that? You know, and so then I remembered where it was, because those were my old stomping grounds, kind of out that way with Beals, where it was an Indian church. And I asked her about the Indian church. Right. And she says she didn't know, and they think that the Indian church one doesn't exist anymore, so Google wasn't a help on that one. So I tried calling the Indian church one, couldn't get through again, so I was like, whatever. So then the Meals on Wheels lady said, well, and I'm like, well, do you know how late they're open and stuff? And she goes, well, I think they're only open until 3 o'clock. So I'm like, oh, great. So then I'm like, okay, and then Pearl's like, all right, you better get going, because by this time it was 1 o'clock, because I told Pearl you could come to 1, because I figured they'd be open until at least 5. You know, but because of this whole COVID thing, all the hours are mixed up, which I get, and I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, okay. So then I'm on my way going over there, and I get there finally after the whole traffic and stuff, and there's a big long-ass line. Big long-ass, because it's the only place around here for the South Tynes and people to be able to switch out stuff. And they're only, because of COVID, they're only allowing like 1 to 2, maybe 4 people max to be inside the store at all times. And there's this long-ass line, okay? Then there was a family that came up right before me of 5 people. 5 people! Like, the whole family. And then the mother's like, okay, they were all talking amongst themselves, well, why can't we stay in the car? Why can't we do this? But I don't know what their deal was, but luckily, the girl waved me in before them, so I was like, oh, thank God. So I get in there, you know, and I'm thinking everything's fine. I'm in there. The one guy finally takes me, and he was a young kid, you know, whatever. He looked like he didn't know what he was doing. He was just like, I'll just, you know, return your item. Because I had the thing in my hand and it looked like I was returning. And then the computer he was on didn't want to work. He couldn't sign in. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So then we get to the second one. So the second computer, he's typing it in and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, are you just returning? And I said, no, I'm swapping out. Because the tech person said it. So I explained it all. And he's like, okay. So he goes and brings me one from the back door, or the back room. He prints up the thing and the other thing, which printed over on the other kiosk, which was weird. And then he has me sign this thing about the trade-in, and I get the receipt, and I'm like, that's it? I don't have to do anything, and it's all good? And he goes, no, you're fine. Didn't even tell me I had to restart it or any of that stuff. So I come back home, finally, with all the other stuff that I had to do. Get home at like 5:46 or something. By the time I get in the house and get it all situated, plug it in, do all that stuff, set it up, then it says, call the number to activate. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do this again, whatever. My patients are like a little bit, you know, but I'm like, Mercury Retrograde, you know, communication, all that. I'll just get it done and over with so I don't have to deal with it. And I know hang with me, guys, because this gets even better. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm calling, and I remember this because if you know me, I follow spirituality and stuff. So when I answered, I picked up the phone and I dialed the number to activate, and I went through the whole rigmarole thing, and on the freaking display, it said 555. So 555, it's a repeating number, so of course I'm going to notice it. So I'm like, okay, whatever, and I move on. So I go through the whole thing, and she's like, okay, this is really messed up. And she's like, okay, I need to transfer you over to the tech person. So I was like, okay, fine, here we go again, to the tech person. So I wait like 5 more minutes on hold because there's so many people in line, and I get it, everybody's having issues, so I'm like, okay. Finally get to talk to somebody, and all of a sudden, she's all like, whatever they did, they screwed it up royally. And I'm like, great, now what, right? So I don't know exactly what they did on the back thing, but she's like trying to figure out how to activate it, and she goes, oh, I see what they did. And I'm like, what? She goes, they gave you a DVR box when it should have been a regular box. And I'm like, what the heck? Because I'm like, that kid went into the back room and got it really fast, and I figured, okay, he works there, he should know what he's doing, whatever, okay, whatever. No, apparently, there's a whole big rigmarole with this whole entire, yeah, right, hello, it's me, whatever, I'm getting to that. And so, well, at least when I answered, I got actually American people this time around. If you are new, if you're trying to become a new Spectrum person, you get the foreign person. Which is interesting, because it always used to be foreign before, and now it's actually more of the American people. Or American-sounding people. I know I'm sorry. I'm just totally not there, but I'm all over the place right now. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So, she said they give you the DVR thing, and she said it's going to be a $3 upcharge. And I'm like, well, dude, I don't want a $3 upcharge. I'm supposed to just swap it out easily because that's what the other person said yesterday. So I'm like, okay, now what's going to happen? Because the reason why I didn't have a tech person come in was because of COVID. Because Gramp is 95. He's got a pacemaker and he's got a catheter line. He's high risk. And I don't want somebody else coming in to figure out, I'd rather have people stay out of the house, right? Makes sense. So I will take it upon myself, because I'm younger and I don't have as many health issues, to go out there with my mask on and do all that rigmarole, wait and do all that stuff, because Gramp wouldn't be able to do it. Anyway, so I did that, came back, whatever. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, well, okay, $3, whatever. It's $3. It's, whatever. I'll just deal with it. I mean, Spectrum, whatever. You have hiccups every now and then. They suck anyways, but I'll just deal with it. It's $3. So then she's like, okay. So she starts trying to get it activated, and then she's like, oh no. And I'm like, what now? And she's all like, oh, well, unfortunately,